Welcome everybody to the All Team Heat call tonight. We're really excited to have you on, and it's just 6 o'clock now, and I'm excited because I've only heard our speaker one time. I've never met her in person, but she amazed me. And then when the phone kept ringing saying, "Are you watching this girl? Are you watching this girl?" I knew our team was going to need to have her on and for her to teach us a little bit. So for those of you that are maybe new on the call tonight, this is Nikki Cotton. Chris and I host this along with the other national marketing directors as part of the HEAT team. The second Tuesday of every month, we bring the whole HEAT team together and bring people from around the world to give us their best, give us their wisdom. And tonight, we're going to hear from Rowe, and I'm going to just tell you just a little bit about Lauren. What she says about herself is she's obsessed with all things sale. Is that cool or what? What a great place to be in. And of course, healthy living and her Juice Plus business. She's been a part of the Juice Plus company for just a little over 2 years and is passionate about helping others shift the relationship with sales and sharing the Juice Plus products and mission. She's built one of the youngest teams in Canada. I believe, Lauren, you're 22 years old, right? Senior sales coordinator. Last I heard, a Six Club. And she's got a large drive to help other young, ambitious millennials, Gen Y women and men live their lives without compromise while working anywhere in the world. And of course, that's what's happened for Chris and I. Some of you may know, we have a home in Oregon. We have a place down by the beach in Santa Barbara. We got a little cabin up in the mountains. And it's all because of our Juice Plus business that we can work anywhere and really live a life by design. And so Lauren, 22 years old, is starting out her life, living her life by design. So Lauren, I am going to turn this completely over to you. And you have to unmute yourself and we're ready to go.
Oh, thank you so much. Can everybody hear me okay? It's all okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Nikki. I always sometimes have to pinch myself of how grateful I am that I stumbled into this business. And I stumbled into this business. I'll get into my story here in a second, but something that I'm a part of, I'm under Barb Coons. She is a huge national marketing director here in Canada. And I'm so lucky to be under her mentorship. And I also work really closely with Sandy Vayu, Michelle Ball, Rogers. And I remember Michelle saying once, that there's not a tile in my home. There's not, a piece of drywall that doesn't come from my Juice Plus business. And I think that that's so cool, even just talking about all of your different homes, Nikki, like the fact that not one of those homes wasn't built by helping another human being and impacting somebody's life. That just like gives me goosebumps and chills, and really excited. The fact that I get to create that life as well too for my family, my future family, and all that good stuff. So I'm really excited, really honored to be here today. Like Nikki had said, I'm super obsessed with anything sales. I'm super goofy, I'm super dorky, and super passionate about my Juice Plus business. I am 22. I'm pretty much all friends with moms and people in their like 30s and 40s. It's just genuinely who I attract. And I'm always, if I am hanging out with more people my age, I'm definitely known as like the mom of the group. I like to call myself a baby grandma because if I can have it my way, I'd love to be in bed by 7:30, 8 p.m. every night. That's just the way I roll. And I love that about myself. And I totally accepted that about myself. So I was blessed enough to be able to have asked to train on our very first Canadian conference. We finally got our own conference in the fall, which was super exciting. And Steven, our VP of sales, he messaged me and he sent me, and I feel like everybody's had this moment at least once in their life. And he sent me this sweet voice note. And he's like, "Hey, Lauren, I just want to, if anyone who's met Stephen Millman knows he's just the sweetest. If we're talking bank codes, he's yellow through and through and through." And he's like, "Hey, I'd love to, for you to, basically train on the main stage in conference." And I had to listen to the voice note probably 10 times over. And my boyfriend was like, "Babe, you better believe it. And please believe it, because I don't want to listen to that voice note again." And I was super excited to be able to be on the main stage and to represent not only my generation, but also somebody who's really like in the trenches of building my business and hearing from a senior sales coordinator, other senior sales coordinators, or I'm really close to QNMD, which is really exciting. And I'm really happy to just be here and represent. So what I'm going to do is actually just screen share with you guys tonight, if that's cool. I'm going to actually just give you kind of a similar presentation to what I gave at Canadian Conference, because it's really, what's the word that I'm looking for? Really based around sales, which is what I'm really, really passionate about. So I'm going to do this. I called this How to Make Sales Your Bestie, because I think so many times in this business, and I mean, it's funny because I'm young and bestie is, something that I don't actually say it myself, but I thought it was funny. I think that a lot of times we feel like, so many times when we're starting in this business, I know I started it when I was first stumbled into the business. My sales felt scary to me. It felt sticky to me. It felt overwhelming to me. And I had a lot of preconceived beliefs around sales too. So I really want to kind of dig into that. Hopefully everybody can see my pictures and stuff like that. Okay.
We can see them great.
Okay, awesome. I was a bit worried about that. Okay, so a little bit about me. First things first is I'm a certified transformation mindset coach. So I did my schooling I finished it. I graduated in spring of last year, and I got to go down to San Diego. I'm a total travel bug, and I'm a certified transformation and mindset coach, and also I work with women with disordered eating. So I have another coaching business aside from my Juice Plus business, but Juice Plus is definitely my bread and butter, and probably the thing I'm most passionate about. I run wellness retreats all over the world. We're looking into actually Costa Rica for in 2021. We have one going on in the Rocky Mountains. I live in Alberta. If anyone's ever been to the Rockies in Canada, I live in Alberta. So I'm really lucky to be so close. I've worked in the wellness industry for over 4 years, which is super cool. Even just to reflect back on that, I actually found one of my old journals. I don't know if we have any journalers in the crowd tonight, but I looked back in one of my old journals from like 2015 or 2016, and it was crazy what I had written in there. I work in the nutrition industry, and I wake up every day happy, and I have a puppy, and which is so crazy because I'm getting a French bulldog. I'm getting a little Frenchie in 2 weeks. So I'm like, wow, I've done good. Check, 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 which is pretty cool. I'm 22, just like Nikki had said, and I live in Calgary, Alberta with my boyfriend, Cam. This is him down here, and these are some pictures from when we went backpacking in Asia, which I'll get into, just sharing a little bit about how my Juice Plus business has woven into that. And I love traveling. Coffee is my favoriteest thing in the world, which also weaves into my Juice Plus business. Like I said, I can relate Juice Plus to anything and everything I do. I'm a total yogi. I love doing yoga. I practice it. I'm back to practicing it anywhere from 4 to 5 times a week. And I'm the happiest when I'm doing that. And then of course, I'm just nerdy about all things Juice Plus. I could sit and talk about it all day long. I actually was in a regional training this past weekend, and Jill Herman was just blessing our ears with the most beautiful information. And I had this overwhelming moment of just like tears, and I felt my face get hot. And I was like, as if this is my life, as if this is what I get to do and spend time with and support my life with and my family with. And it's like so beautiful. So before I get into my training, I just want to share how I kind of stumbled into the business. And why I'm so passionate about it, and how I actually able to scoop up a lot of people my age into this business. Because I think a lot of times people my age, I know 21, 22, I started in this business. I had just turned 19, and I didn't understand it. And I had a lot of preconceived notions around the business. I've watched my parents' generation and the generation before that, even my grandparents. My grandma told me horror stories of different pyramid schemes, and stuff like that. So when I kind of stumbled into this, I had wanted nothing to do with it. And I mean nothing to do with it. I think like a lot of people, I was like, get away from me with your pyramid scheme, lady. Like and I just really want to be real and raw about that, because I was one of those people that had so many judgments, so much fear, and so much ignorance more than anything around this industry, and specifically around our business. And I'm so grateful that my upline held that space for me. And then I was eventually able to get on the products and become a raving fan, and so on. But I always like to say that because, I think so many times if we think that there's the people who are anti, maybe MLM or direct sales or something, we almost skip by them. We don't want to give them the time of day, but continue to love on them from afar. You really need to love on them from afar. That's the key. But I mean, I don't ever see a point in my life where for Juice Plus isn't a part of it. So don't forget about us. Just love on us from afar, and I promise we'll come around. But for me, how it worked was my little sister, she was 15 years old at the time, and she she went vegetarian, which is fine. We all know how beneficial a plant-based diet is, but she was 15, so she was literally living on white bread and potatoes, which as a health coach, I was wanting to basically just smack it out of her hand and be like, eat something green, could you please? But she wouldn't. We'd spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on different supplements. She wouldn't take anything because she didn't like swallowing capsules. She didn't like the work of it, but she loved the Juice Plus gummies. So I only signed up. I got the duo for myself because it was the cheapest thing. I signed up for a discount because who wants to pay for anything full price nowadays, especially when you're 19 years old. And I got her on the gummies. And it was such a phenomenal feeling after 2.5 weeks. And I don't have kids of my own, but I do have, my little sister is my world. Like, she is my absolute world. And after 2.5 weeks of being on the product, she comes upstairs and she says to me, I just want to say thank you. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Did you wreck one of my shirts? I mean, she's 15. You're not nice when you're 15, right? And she says to me, ever since I started taking those juicy gummy things, my belly doesn't hurt and I can concentrate in class and I'm sleeping way better. So thanks. And after I pulled my jaw up off of the floor for her actually being nice and sweet in that moment, I was like, wow, there really has to be merit to this stuff. And from there, I had remarkable results on the product with hair, skin, nails, digestion, all that jazz, things that we're familiar with, hearing lots of stories in our business. But for me, the real light bulb moment and the real kind of divine moment that I think that God really gifted me was when I was actually backpacking in Asia. And you can see some photos there. Trip of a lifetime and absolutely amazing. And I literally had the flights booked, was leaving in like 3 or 4 months and had no money. My savings account was completely drained. And I had literally dreamed of backpacking in Indonesia, Bali specifically, since I was in high school. I played Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz, and I remember singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow and thinking about being in Bali, like that kind of obsession. So it was really heartbreaking to me when I realized, oh my gosh, like financially, I don't actually think I'm going to be able to make this work. I worked a part-time job, barely any hours at that, and got paid, I think $13 an hour was what I made. I made like nothing. And I realized I was sitting on a working lottery ticket. And I was able to work really, really hard and make a lot of money in a short period of time. And that's not an income claim. That's just my reality. And that's what was able to divinely happen for me. And I was able to go on a backpacking trip for over 2 months. And that was cool. That was amazing. I remember boarding the plane and being like, wow, this is cool. I think my Juice Plus business got me on this plane. That's really cool. But for me, my divine moment wasn't until I was sitting in a cafe in Bali. And anyone who's been to Bali knows how magical it is. And I'm drinking probably my 4th or 5th iced cashew milk latte of the day because it's so dang hot and I'm so dang addicted to coffee. And I got this message on my phone that I had just gotten paid. And I was like, what? Why did I just get paid? And I looked and it was my Juice Plus income. And I had this moment. I was like, I haven't worked in over a month and I'm on the other side of the world. And I just got paid enough to live a whole nother month on the other side of the world. Now, granted, it's Asia. Your cost of living isn't super high. But to me, that was such a phenomenal moment of, oh my gosh, this is cool. And not only that, my paycheck was a direct reflection of how many people's lives I was changing. And I don't take that lightly. It was a reflection of my team being able to pay their rent or, to have an income while they were going to school. And that was it for me. I mean, I came home from that trip and I haven't stopped since. And I'm so grateful for that moment. And I'm so grateful for this business and this company, for the community and the opportunity, of course. But that was kind of that was my light bulb moment. And they say that you choose this business twice, right? I know I've heard that lots of times through my trainings, just hearing lots of people speak and they say the first time is maybe you're doing it, you're choosing it for an aunt or, you know, your mom. And I totally chose this business for my sister. And then the second time that I chose it was for me. And that was when I was in Asia. So that's my story. So to get into the nitty gritty, does the word selling make you feel weird? Let's be real. Let's be honest about it. And if it doesn't make you feel weird now, I bet you probably know somebody or you have some team that makes them feel a little bit weird. We just got to get real. We just got to get honest about it. So then we can like pull out the weed completely from the root. So have you said, or any of your team, have you ever heard, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to bug my friends. What do I say? I don't know what to say. If someone asks me, what is G-Spots? I don't know what to say. I'm too awkward. I don't want people to be annoyed by me. I suck at sales. I'm not good at selling. So if you have, I'm guessing we all have because we've all been in this business. I hate to break it to you, but nobody likes doing things that they suck at. Like if I went and tried to golf right now, I probably wouldn't have that fun of a time because I suck at golf. So when I started in this business, it didn't necessarily feel good. I didn't like going out and doing the thing, but it was because I wasn't very good at it. I'm really grateful my first team member that I ever signed up is still with me. She's still on my team and my still biggest leg to this day. But we were laughing at ourselves. We had went way back into old Instagram messages, and the message I had sent her was like 3 solid finger scrolls up of like, and this is what's great about the company, and this is what's great about I just totally verbal diarrhea all over her. And if you've ever done that in your business, this isn't about judging yourself for the fact that you've done that in the past, or maybe you did that like earlier today. That's okay, because you only know what you know. You do the best you can with the tools you have at the time you have it. But this is about trading our judgment for curiosity and just moving forward in a really positive way that we know we're going to be able to grow our businesses. Okay. So let me see. Oh, it's not working. Oh, sometimes this freezes. Sorry, you guys. Oops. Oh, see, now it's getting excited. Okay. So I want you to take a moment and think about how sales feels to you. Okay. And maybe it's the health coach in me, maybe it's all the yoga that I do, but I'm huge on using my intuition. I'm huge on making sure that I'm kind of tuning into my body, because that is, if I'm feeling anxiety, if I'm feeling nervousness, that's kind of my first of like, oops, something's out of alignment. I have to get curious here. So I want you to take a moment and just think about, when I say the word sales, how does it feel to you? Does it feel a little like, maybe it feels a little sleazy car salesman? If there's any sleazy car salesman in the audience tonight, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just telling you. But I just want you to get really curious around that. And while you're getting curious around that, maybe write it down in your notebooks to kind of reflect on later on. But what's your story around sales, right? Like, what's that constant narrative that you find yourself saying when it's time for you to follow up with somebody that you've sent an information link about, whether it's the business or the product? You know, are you like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be bothering them? Are you saying, oh my gosh, how can I not follow up with them? It is my duty. It is my, it's almost an obligation that I have to do it. Just getting really curious about that. And then also too, what really excites you about sales? What gets you really like fired up about the fact that you're going to be able to sell this product and or this business to somebody? So what I always like to say, and maybe I kind of am talking to 2 people tonight, because maybe you're sitting on the call tonight and you're going, yeah, I don't like sales. I'm not a salesperson. I love the product. It resonates huge with me, but I don't know, like, I can't go out and sell this, or I can't teach my team to do this. Or maybe you have a team and you have a team that feels really nervous and they're like, I don't like sales. One thing that I always ask, instead of meeting convincing people, when people have objections, I don't play the convincing game. I play the inspiration game and the question game. So I just always say, oh, is it that you don't like sales? Or is it just that it makes you a little bit uncomfortable, right? So I always say, I always use with my new reps, say, I'm in the process of becoming confident in my own skin. I am in the process of becoming kick-ass at sales. I am in the process of becoming a senior sales coordinator or a QNMD or an NMD. But when you say, a lot of times when I teach this to my clients, it's a little bit of personal development here kind of rolled into it. But we have to realize, right, if we're one version of ourselves and then we want to be this new version of ourselves, you can't just flick the switch and then be there. There's all this space, right, in between. And we literally call that the space and with my coaching clients. And that's where self-sabotage can really, it can kind of sabotage the whole thing, right? So I always like to say I am in the process of, because then it gives you permission to get messy, and permission to just get messy and have fun while you're building your Juice Plus business too. My computer's been really slow tonight. So what if we were, instead of selling, we were serving people? Okay. We are selling. There is a financial exchange. I don't want you to not think that at all. But what if instead of selling, we were serving people? Okay. And you were able to actually make those mindset shifts of, oh yeah, there is that energetic exchange, that financial exchange, but I am really serving, just as you would if you you pay when you go to a restaurant for that service. You don't feel guilty about spending that money. At least I don't, because I love going out for food. And if we're serving people, wouldn't you agree that service is one of the highest forms of love? So if we can focus, what we're providing for people rather than how we're bugging them, that really changes the game, not just for ourselves and our own businesses, but for our teams too. So I just want to go through kind of quickly our mindsets around sales, because this is really huge, some actual tangible things, because sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. And like I said, I had mentioned it earlier, but I really want to encourage you to get curious rather than judgmental in this moment. I think so many times we let ourselves get so judgmental in every area of our lives. I remember the first time I had a mentor ever tell me that, and she was like, I don't judge myself for anything. I just get curious. I was like, whoa, I judge myself for everything, like everything in my life. And I judge other people for it too. So I just want to really encourage you that as we're moving into this conversation, to just get super, super curious. Because that's what's actually going to shift. The blame game, the shame, the guilt, all of that's gotten you exactly where you are. So maybe let's drop it. So some disempowering beliefs around sales is imposter syndrome. I'm not ready. What if they find out that I'm a fraud? This is huge. I mean, I think we've all struggled with this in our businesses in some way, shape, or form. I know even Jill Herman, she had chatted about that even this weekend of, this isn't in the Juice Plus community, living the mission and being a product of the product doesn't mean that you're gluten-free and work out every day and make $1 million. That's not what our Juice Plus mission is. Ours is, to inspire healthy living around the world. Boom, that's it. And that can look different for so many different people. That's why there's so many different people from different backgrounds and education and lifestyles that are so successful at this business. So that's something that I just want you to get really curious around too. Guilt. I don't deserve money, right? This is something that's huge. And if you feel like you're in a place where maybe you can't afford your Juice Plus, or you're in a place where you feel like you can't even afford your rent, I get it. I've been there, and I want number one, you to know you're not alone ever. We've all been there at some way, shape, or form. And if this business is actually for a paycheck, there's no shame in that. There is absolutely no shame around that either. But if you're feeling guilty and your money story isn't there's not awareness over that, it's going to be really challenging to go out and ask other people for their money as well. Insecurities. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And I really want to remind you guys too that maybe you're not actively telling yourself I'm not good enough or that I'm not worthy. Maybe for you, it's working on a more subconscious level, and it's coming out in more judgments and comparison and that kind of thing too. And then other people can't invest in this, kind of similar to the guilt of I don't deserve money. But instead, we're almost making people's decisions for them. Susie, she's so broke, she can't afford this. And that's one of the number one things I always say to my reps when we're making our list of like 100 people to reach out when they're going for QSC in their first 60 days. We have 60 days in Canada. I hope that you guys do in the US. If not, sorry. But that's what I'll do when I'm sitting down with a new rep and we're making those 100 names and they're going through their social media, and I'm sitting down, I'm like, oh, what about this person, or who is this person to you? And they're like, oh no, she's a single mom, she could never afford this. And I'm like, that's not who do you think you are? You're not that special enough to make that type of powerful decision for somebody. So that's really important to just know. And I'm constantly surprised by this, because the amount of times that I've been too chicken to share this business with somebody, and then I've seen them sign up with somebody else. Wow, joke's on me. That had to happen 3 times to me, you guys, before I finally got the memo. So don't be like me, learn from my mistakes. And then finally, a follower mindset. I need you, you're in control of this situation, right? It's constantly being kind of at the mercy of, maybe it's your customers, maybe it's your team. That's really coming from fear and scarcity, and that's not gonna help you at all in your business either. So let's flip it. Let's get a little lighter. Let's talk about empowering beliefs around sales. This is something that I love. I am in the process of embodying, not faking these until I make it, but being it until I become it. I embody these every single day, not all day, every day. No, I am not perfect, and I never will claim to be. But these are things that I'm constantly working towards, and I'm inspiring my team to want to work towards that too. So number 1, money is energy. What if money equals impact? And it's just like I talked about even at the first of the call, right? Of that, it's so cool to me that every single time I'm paying my rent or going to go buy my future dog's food, that's because of my Juice Plus paycheck. That's really cool. I'm really lucky I'm able to do this from home, and this is my full-time gig at this point. And I'm really grateful for that. But I'm like, that's so cool to me. I love going and buying my groceries or putting gas in my car and being like, wow, this is from my Juice Plus paycheck. And maybe your paycheck is like $100 right now, or maybe it's like $10,000 right now. And either way, that exchange and that impact is so powerful. And that's something to be really grateful for. And the more you're grateful for it, the more you're going to attract that too. This is, people love to spend money. This is the best thing. I always like to tell a story here. I'm trying to keep an eye on time. I'm kind of trying to go quickly. I know I'm a chatty Cathy, but people love to spend their money. This is the best thing that they can spend their money on. When I embodied this, I have to tell the story because it's so stinking funny. My stepdad, when I started in this business, was the biggest skeptic. It's actually hilarious. My stepdad and my uncle were the ones that ripped on me the most when I started in this business, which was like a real, it was like really hard, because they're the people that I love the most and they judged me the most for it. But that's okay, because when I really started to embody this, the people really love to spend their money. I mean, my stepdad is an Alberta cowboy through and through. He loves to drink his beer in the garage. He's smoke-free a year now, but he used to love to spend his money on cigarettes. That's just him. And when I realized he's spending his money anyway, he needs to get on this product, I just waited till he was a little drunk in the garage one night, and I took his credit card and I signed him up for the gummies. And he got the adult dose of gummies, and he honestly has been on them ever since, you guys. And he works out of town. Like he flies in and flies out for work. He works two weeks on, 2 weeks off. And I will get calls or texts from him up north, and he's like, hey kiddo, so I'm gonna need can I give your number to this dude? I told him about the juicies. He needs to get on them too. And I think that this is what he needs. And it's so fun. And I'm so grateful for that. So you never know when you're able to kind of embody that. People are gonna spend their money either way. Your certainty overcomes their doubt. When you own our price, when you own this business, when you own this industry, I'm so stinking proud to be a part of network marketing as an industry, especially with this company. But even as this industry, when you kind of you almost like you just lay it down and you step into it, you find you won't attract those naysayers. You find that you won't attract, and even if you do, they kind of just bounce off of you a little bit better too, because you're so certain. And if you're struggling with certainty with this product, with this industry, with our particular company, reach out to your upline, because there are oodles and oodles of resources for that. Oh, I'm sorry. Why is it so slow today? I have the oldest MacBook in the world. Maybe that's what it is. And then high intention, low attachment. I always say to my team, you can't want it more than them. I know, my uncle has struggled with epilepsy. There's nothing more than I want to see him on all of the products. But of course the omegas and our trio. But I can't want it more than him. I can't be attached to that. It's, you know, it's too hard on the heartstrings. So there's a certain level of, you can't want it more than them with team and with clients and customers and prospects. And then of course, on the flip side, be a leader mindset. You know, be a problem solver and not a product pusher. Okay. So those are kind of my mindset. Just really quickly going through kind of some sales 101. Some don'ts around sales is don't go into a call in a reactive state. Be calm, cool, collected, put your cool shades on, as the Australians say. Don't budge on the price, own it. Love that we are not a $20 product, and also love that we're not a $500 product. I mean, we've all, you know, done that. Oh, look, it's this much and it's less than, you know, a coffee a day. And we've all said that, but also I love to just be like, yeah, our trio is $100 a month. And then you just like, wait for them to say something. You own it, because $100 a month is phenomenal. You guys are even more lucky in the States. You guys are even a little bit cheaper than that. Don't talk fast, take a breath, speak with intention, and don't go into a call with giddy energy. That's kind of the only wording I could come up with that. But don't go into, hey, I'm going to sell them on this, and they're going to be on my team. Just really, it's embodying that and knowing that it's not your job to convince anybody. Okay. So some do's is assume the best possible outcome. When I'm hopping on a call, I don't have attachment. I have really high intentions, but I don't have attachment. I'm like ready. I'm holding that space for them to kind of manifest that outcome. But if they say no, then that's all right as well. I know there's a million other people that are ready to say yes. And then do come from a place of love and excitement for them. I always say we're in the inspiration game over the convincing game, right? Or as Eric Worre says, true, we're not hunters in this business, we're farmers, right? And that takes time. We can't judge those seeds, how quick they grow. And do be punctual, have integrity with your time and theirs. And then I like to talk about investments rather than costs. Okay, so I just kind of teach people how to feel about it. And then follow up always, you guys, the fortunes in the follow up. I know this isn't any new news, but I want to have a reminder. So then a quick note on no's is that understand that no's are a healthy part of this business, you guys. If you're not getting no's, you're not pushing your business hard enough. And I always tell my team, and now they start to tell me this too, which is so cool. And I just say, oh, they said no, that's totally okay. Just stick them in your back pocket. Love on them later. You know, like I said, it's not our jobs to judge how quick the seeds grow. And then I always just say, just make sure that you're able to walk away from a conversation knowing that you gave them your best, right? Maybe that you made sure that you offered them the discount, that you asked them enough questions to understand why they feel like they can't afford it or why they feel like they don't need it. That's your job, to make sure that they're making an informed no. And then I love to say, honor where people are at, but hold them lovingly to what you know you can help them create, right? We can't want more than them. So finally, if you care more, you're always going to win. If we can focus on how can you serve over what can I get, and just love on people the way that you would want to be loved on. Sharing this is an act of love, you guys. And then be a product of the product. Show up as the type of person that you would want on your team, as a customer, or even just in life. Maybe you need to fire yourself and rehire yourself today. And then know that people are they're gonna walk away from a conversation with you changed either way, because you've planted that seed in the best place in the garden. So that's what I got for you guys.
Hey, great job. You know, we're just a touch over our normal time, but I just want to open up just for a second in case, Lauren, anybody has a question around any of the stuff that you heard tonight. Is there something that you would like to know more about? If you would, go for it right now, and we'll wait a second. Just unmute yourself, or if you have a comment to make as the last moment, something.
Yeah.
Hey, Lauren, this is Patty. Oh my goodness, that was incredible. I can't wait to hear the recording and share it. A question at the beginning, you talked about love people from afar. What does that look like for you?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question. For loving people from afar is, for me, it wasn't a pressure thing. So what my upline, the kind of space she was able to hold for me was, she'd just say, I'd like be complaining about like a tummy ache or something like that. And she'd be like, oh yeah, I totally get that. She'd validate me. And then she'd be like, well, you know where to find me. you know, I got Juice Plus for you. You know where to find me. And she just kind of like really hold that space for me. And there's a lot of people where I've loved them from afar, and maybe that's like a current team member where they're like, no, I'm good where I'm at, or no, I don't want to do this. Just sending them like a check-in text. So then they feel like the relationship comes before the business, whether they're a prospect or a team member. And that, you know, you love them and you care about them for who they are, regardless of whether or not they're on your team or not, or a customer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great question, Patty. All right. Well, what I would love to do is, first of all, thank you from all of it. Chris, did you want to say something? We can't hear you, so you're going to have to come in here. I don't know what's going on with your mic. Here comes Chris. He's running down the hall. He's running into the kitchen.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Before we all say goodbye, I just wanted to thank you for bringing such incredible energy. What's really, of course, your excitement is contagious, but we are in our 30th year with the company, and you're in your third at the age of 22. We're going to have a lot of fun watching you, so keep on rocking, baby.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
What would be just so cool is if everybody would unmute themselves and really give Lauren a very warm heat. Thank you. That's the name of our team, The Heat. So Lauren, great job. We really thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
It was really an incredible training.
Woo!
Yay!
Rocking.